The people have their questions ready.
No.
Never. That's what makes them so fun.
Improv. Take two.
We've gone through a lot of sessions and no one's talked over you during that point yet.
That is not true. Roll the footage. Anyway. Hello and welcome to the RPG Blender, where we give lesser played games or forgotten settings the roll the dice they deserve. I'm your host, Game Master George, thrilled to welcome you to the next chapter in our adventure. Our heroes have left their meeting with the despot and now prepare for their next engagement. Will House Mnemon be as easily swayed? Find out as we explore a new land of power and ancient secrets in Exalted. Subtext. Welcome to the RPG Blender. I'm saying this for the first time today, and welcome back to the world of Exalted. I'm your host, Game Master George. Oh boy, that is nowhere near what it should have been, but that's fine. I'm throwing off my game. It's late. It's not late. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, let's meet the cast. Hey, hello, Craig.
Howdy, gang. It's me, Craig, playing everybody's lovable good doer, Dirham Barath. Hey, gang.
All right. So who does anybody have would like to request asking a question of Dirham, or should I randomly determine who's going to get to ask Dirham a question?
I like random. Always, I like random.
Yeah, the less agency we have, the more fun it is.
With our group, yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So the person who gets to ask a question of the person who gets to ask a question of Craig is Becky. Go ahead, Becky.
Okay, so do I get to ask a question of Craig?
About Dirham?
Damn it.
Personal thing?
Good try though.
So I didn't know this was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
You can see who watches our show.
You know,
Hey, there's a lot to catch up on. This isn't your fault. Same reason I don't get into Breaking Bad.
I finally managed to catch up. Finally, the episode caught up.
why should lore believe you've changed?
Oh, that's a good question.
Why should lore believe Dirham has changed?
I believe what she means is from the way your past life it was.
Interesting. This is all just theory. So sure, I could give a debate on this. Sure, why not? While there are obvious tenets of like the scientific and analytical aspect to Dirham, I think for a majority of his interactions, they've all been about doing something for the greater good of the people, whether they are realm, whether they are lunars, whether they are random miscreants who are in between all of these powerful societies and whatnot, and even in putting himself out there for the sake of getting lore out of the boot of Rakshi, sacrificing his own tenants to allow her to have freedom away from a tyrant, whether or not she's aware of what that action might actually be.
Okay. All right.
But that's all just theory and conjecture. I mean, this is all just like a question to Craig. It's not really Dirham.
Yeah, Craig was just saying how we should all just be gods and do what we want. So it's kind of you gotta take it.
True. I was saying, come on. Where do you pull the punch? I don't think we do. But there you go.
Okay. So then moving along, we have Greg. Say hello, Greg.
Hello. Hi, everyone. It's me, Greg. I play Adramalik. He's the rogue of the party. And that's pretty much it.
Rogue.
Nothing else to see here.
Archetype.
Not at all corrupted and evil in any way. He's just appears that way from the outside. Huh?
All right. So question for Greg will come from Peter.
So
Good question.
Yep.
Oh, not prepared.
So the name Adramalik, is it even a name? What does it mean? Or is it a title? How did you come up with it?
Ooh.
How did Greg, come up with it, or how did Adramalik come up with it?
I guess you.
I'd like to know both.
Yeah, right.
sure.
I
Way
like
to
both
complicate your
sides.
own question.
So for Adramalik, it's pretty simple. The name just came to them from the being that gave them their power, which shall remain nameless. And who knows what it was? It was a god of good light and happiness and sunshine.
Yeah, we believe that.
For Greg, it's kind of a portmanteau of the words drama and lich. So take that for what you will.
He's a drama lich.
That's how I take it.
It happens to be from a video game that I enjoy very much.
That's
There
where I
it
thought
is.
it came from.
Yeah.
So it is a name.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. I won't say
And
which
has
ones. I'll leave that to the commenters. See if you can find out what video game it's from, because I don't think we have the spelling of it appropriately displayed anywhere. So, phonetically figure out what it is. Maybe you'll figure it out. Maybe you won't. Who knows?
The spelling of your title card is close.
Nice.
Close.
Nice.
All right. So let's go to Rich. Say hello, Rich.
Hey everybody, I'm Rich. I play Smiling Mountain, the muscle of the group. Yeah, that's about it. Also, I guess the face, because Strings left us, but not anymore. Now we have Sparrow. So.
Yeah, we got the Royale, baby.
Yeah, but it's same as last time. Still horrified that we're in the city and that we're using my real name and that we're staying with my real family all around. Just terrible.
All right. And asking a question of Rich will be Greg.
Oh, okay. All right.
We know who was prepared and who was not.
Trying to think of something really like thought-provoking and meaty. Okay. All right. Out of the current members of the party, including Lore, since Lore is also here, who would likely be the first person you would have to kill, and who would be the second person? I was the first one. Wait, let me rank them in order from who you would most likely have to kill to least likely have to kill.
So we'll go over this with Mountain's perspective and everything like this. So Mountain has intimacies for both Sparrow and Dirham. So he literally has tie intimacies where it's like we all got our powers together. So there's literally things. Actually, I think my tie to Sparrow is actually stronger than Dirham, because like I look at Sparrow as while we've traveled longer together, like literally Sparrow saved my life and then ascended. Like I was I'm gonna die. So I thought it made more sense to be like, yeah, like there is like a thing where I'm like, oh, Sparrow, like you're the one who brought us all here, kind of a thing.
Nah, that's fair. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, right.
He is.
But with Lore, Mountain actually looks at Lore in the same kind of sadness that he looked at that lady that we had to kill, who killed you, who I was like, you just have the wrong teacher, and I wish I could have met you earlier, because maybe I could have like swayed you, which is why also Mountain hasn't given up on Adramalik. However, with Lore, I think there's a little bit more wiggle room, because it seems like Lore is, at least previously, is kind of trying to find herself in the in-between of like what Rakshi wants, what her feelings are, what her actual true core beliefs are, and the ways that she's getting pulled. But they're all personal and therefore can be swayed by her personal growth and experience. With Adramalik, I think there is something that pulls Adramalik, as Mountain thinks there's something that pulls Adramalik and is hard and is long, much like the stone giant in Neverending Story. No matter how hard I hold you against the nothingness, eventually you will slip through my fingers. And when you slip through my fingers, I don't know what that'll mean, but I know that it is much more likely that you will cause harm, and I have to stop you in a much more violent manner than anyone else. And because I do actually think that you are capable of beating me, Mountain
take that risk.
Well, it's not that I can't take the risk, because I would take the risk, but the thing is Mountain can't just be like, and now I'm going to pull this last punch, because there is no punch to pull. It is you can probably kill me in an instant, and because of that respect that Mountain has for Adramalik, it is once you have slipped through my hands and I can't do anything, then you're gone.
Damn, that was beautiful.
All right, so what about the rest of the people? Who else would you kill?
Yeah, who else? Yeah, who else would you kill?
I would kill it. And also,
who's higher, Craig or either Dirham or I guess you already said that.
And, well, technically my intimacy is higher, but I think more realistically, I would kill neither of them unless neither of them went crazy sun time and were like, no, this is just who I am now. Not like temporary
Rank
crazy.
your friends, Rich. Rank your friends.
Rank them.
Rank your friends.
Rank us.
Rank your friends.
I would say right now I would kill Dirham last because I trust Dirham the most.
Hell
because
yeah.
because for all I know, Sparrow's been corrupted, but it would hurt me the most to kill Sparrow, if that makes sense.
That's
I mean,
fair.
Sparrow's been passing himself off successfully as a dynast in the realm. Clearly, he has made some kind of infernal pact.
Obviously.
I mean, compared to us, because we're idiots and have just been hiding in the rivers and like we're just like in the bayou. He's like, why aren't you guys just lying? We're like, lying. Oh my God, we could have lied.
All of the times, you never once claimed to be one of them.
I'm also really bad at lying, so that's why I never
Well,
claimed
is that?
one. It's just better just to be like, I'm big and strong.
All right. And that brings us to our recurring guest here from the Sponsored by Nobody podcast. We have Peter the Piahu. I probably pronounced it wrong, but I try. I swear I mean well.
Better than a lot of people. So hi, I'm Peter. I'm playing Raga Royale, the eclipse of the group. The second eclipse, I guess. So, who's asking me a question?
The person asking you a question will be Craig.
Okay. So my question is, I don't know if we've asked this, but what is Rigara's concern with potentially being found and outed in the realm? What does Rigara have to lose besides obviously Rigara's life? Is there anything beyond that?
Well, first he loses his life, of course. Other than that, he has some wealth and influence there, as well as his family wealth and influence. And, now he also has a wife in the realm that he, married in between Exalting and coming near you guys.
Jesus, this
What?
guy got busy.
Hold on, what?
You don't remember this? He married your sister, man.
Oh, right.
I do. And that's what triggered me. Okay, right. I repressed that. Hang on. I'm removing that from my memory real
I
quick.
did not remember that.
Yeah, but other than obvious, I guess, keep looking like freedom to do anything he wants now that he has the power and the means and, everything that comes with being a soul exalted. Because, hey, he can now, take over the world, reform the realm he wanted. He can do anything, as long as, he doesn't have an army of dragon-blooded after him. So he only has everything to lose.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Big plans.
All right. And that brings us to Becky joining us today. Say hello, Becky.
Hello, I'm Becky. I'm playing Lore of Autumn, and I'm really good at lore, especially in autumn time.
Well, that's great that you're good at lore, because it's time for somebody to ask you a question about lore, and I believe
It's just me.
that is Rich, and I am so sorry for how the dice worked there. That might be the worst one to get a question from.
That's not true at all. I'll
No?
ask you a question that'll help you flesh out your character that you know nothing about. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah. No.
If you need a lifeline, because this is obviously a character that I made that you are helpfully portraying here. So if you need a lifeline help for answering this question, you can feel free to tap.
Okay, awesome.
But I believe in you.
Oh,
Ruin my canon.
How did you enjoy your first session?
Okay. First of all, no. But I'm not gonna go crazy.
I believe you.
I'm not. Do you think Lore would feel bad at all if she had to kill us? Like, do you think there's enough goodwill and stuff like that? Because I know the way that George has portrayed it previously, it seems like Lore, for the most part, gets along with Mountain, gets along with Adramalik, has mixed feelings about Dirham after our mirror and everything like that. But then the question is that, what do you think? Do you think that's real, or do you think it would be like...
Okay. Would I feel bad if I had to kill you all?
Yeah, like, so if Roxy said kill you, because that's not the question. I'm well aware if Roxy was like, murder them now, like that shit would happen.
If I felt like I had to murder you, then it means that you aren't as good-willed as I am hoping you are. So I would, I wouldn't be mad, I'd be disappointed.
Ooh.
Oh,
Good answer. All right.
Yep.
oh, Mom.
That's entirely accurate for how I would have said it. It's that you guys represent the hope of maybe they can do better this time. Maybe it's not all doom and gloom. Maybe you don't need to have this cruel exterior that I've been shown so far. And if she has to kill you, then you've clearly failed and shown her that maybe the cruelty is necessary.
The soul of the game. The soul of it coming.
I mean, there's an argument to be made.
Are we the baddies?
I feel like everyone's the baddies over a long enough timeline is the lesson of Exalted.
When your great curse is literally that you will go insane with power, yes. As has been reminded many times, there are many charms to be able to rule. There are not ones to be a good ruler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gonna have to throw ourselves in the sun after we hit 100 years old or something.
So previously on Exalted, our heroes awoke and met with their soon-to-be new mercenary company. They then went to go piddle about the day, waiting for their dinner meeting with the despot. After many hijinks in the market, they did eventually meet with the market. Unfortunately, sans Dirham, who had gone off with Lore on some mysterious venture. They did manage to meet with the despot, however, being led through his opulent grand estate to a what seemed like very tense meeting with them. It started out with him displaying his wealth, flaunting it, showing just how much better he is than them. And then Ragara Royal very quickly removed that misconception by telling him the reason that they were in this city, to stop an ancient being that was potentially going to destroy him, his entire city, maybe the world, and put the ever-loving fear of the sun in him.
Yeah. In excellent form.
Yes. At which point you all took your doggy bags of this food, which is going to very much go to waste because he was a wasteful jerk in the middle of a desert, and began your trek back to your resting place to sleep away the day. On your way there, however, you caught something out of the corner of your eye. A large figure in dark armor adorned with skulls with a rather nasty looking weapon on their back and their hip. However, when they disappeared into the crowd, you were not quite able to place the figure before they could vanish from your sight. And we will pick up, unless you have anything pressing you would like to do in that moment.
Who was that person? Can I make a remember check?
You did last time.
I did.
Failed.
I know. I was just saying that for comedic purpose.
I had to go back to the notes to figure out who it might have been. I think I have the name, but whatever.
All right. So then you made your way back to your resting place, and in the night, because you sleep during the day and are awake. Anytime I can't even say that. Just ignore everything that comes out of my mouth and just think that it is whatever you assume it should be.
Got it.
You awaken in the evening to get ready to head to your breakfast meeting with the representatives of House Mnemon. Now, with Dirham check, as he returned with Lore and a 5-foot-long, 6-legged lizard.
What?
Well, it's not quite
Nicely
a lizard
butchered.
anymore.
Just for clarification, the food that I got from the despot, I would have given it out to like homeless people and stuff like that, like on the way back, or even just commoners like closing up shop. I would have been like, here you go.
Okay, noted.
Laura, would you like the kitchen to prepare this for you?
Well, actually, there's enough for everyone, and I just kind of pass it along.
No, please.
I eat it, and then I eat
get
his
that
share.
carcass out of that is really disturbing. Please,
He only eats
wrap that up.
vegetables, you remember.
Can you get like a cloak or something? Just drape. Why is its innards all of its outwards? Please, just cover it. My goodness, anyone have any manners?
I just eat what was given
Butchered
to me.
quite well.
Yeah, I know. I can see that. I don't want to see that. I want to see none of that. I want to see it covered up. Can we cover it, please?
He doesn't, Lord. He doesn't like eating anything but vegetables. He feels very sorry for the animals. I say as I eat more, so I'm.
So you're shoving your face.
It's more than just eating
I'm
raw.
hungry. I'm a large
lizard.
boy.
Yeah, this isn't cooked anything. This is just
Like
Yeah, no, this
butchered.
is raw.
Well,
We're gonna have a breakfast soon.
I use my master of many manners to make sure that I was supposed to eat it raw. And if the answer is yes, then I just eat it raw.
think it works like that. However, your iron stomach would definitely help you with that.
Perfect. So if you're like, oh, you're supposed to cook that, I'll be like, damn.
And then I also like pass like furs out too. Or no, it's lizard.
Scales. scaly skin.
Lizard
Is
leather.
it usable in any sort of fashion at all?
Absolutely. Think snake leather, like snake skin
Cool.
boot. You could easily fashion a 5-foot long lizard. Could easily be fashioned into some kind of leather garb.
Maybe a belt.
Of course, you'd need somebody with that relevant skill set. But hey, you are in the city of Gem with one of the foremost markets in the South. So you could certainly find somebody to do that.
We don't want to be here very much longer.
Looking over at Dirham. What's your craft there, buddy?
And there's that there.
Yeah. Do we by any chance have tools or things that like?
No, you don't need
Goodness.
tools, remember?
You remember, craftsman needs no tools.
Well, sure, but that also, burns up my ability and whatnot. It's
But
more like-
I believe you do have just the general tools to do
Okay.
things, unless you obviously don't have a workstation or anything advanced. But for basic stuff, yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
I mean, hear me out. This creature lives in this climate, so utilizing this should be beneficial.
I mean, it's possible to maybe make some sort of short cloak that might help to handle the elements a little better for an individual. I could try and pull something together with the hide.
So the carcass of this beautiful creature? No, thank you. I'll stick to my silks. All right. They were extracted from the creature without the need to kill it.
Okay.
Okay, man. I just nod at you and I eat more of my raw lizard.
You know that's bug saliva, right? Just saying. And then I hand the carcass, the skin to Durham.
And Darren will just, I guess, start going to work on it.
You can give me first off, you can give me a wits, either survival or lore, to have an idea of what you could use this for, to study it.
Sure. I will do that as Dirham reflects on the activities and observations that were made while hunting this creature out in the desert wilds, and how it functioned as a living creature, considering what the hide itself may have done to help it through its ability to swim through the sand. And I will attempt to investigate it while doing so. Any stun?
Yeah, you can have a 2-dot stun.
Thank you. My God. 4.
Okay. The scales are surprisingly smooth. Often with lizard scales, you'd find them to have a rough texture to them, but they are very smooth. Obviously worn down by the constant shifting through sand, meant to allow it to more easily travel through. As you are examining the creature, you can also see that the scales themselves seem to have a small hinge-like appendage at the top of them, which allows them to slightly fold out. From what you've seen, it's probably when it emerges from the sand to allow it to vent heat a little bit, its own form of sweating or expelling heat in order to cool down, by allowing the scales to slightly shift out when it's above the ground and let the air pass through.
That's really smart.
And no biologist should put any thought into what I just said.
It's magic. It's a
Sounds really
magical
cool.
world.
That sounded great.
That was great. Yeah.
Especially if you came up with that off the top of your head. I'm very impressed.
A+ pseudoscience.
Masters in bullshit. So with that, you can see that if you were to build something out of this, assuming that you could find a way to work that mechanism, that would be easy for. It would be easy for not only keeping warm in colder climes, but also allowing them to slightly fan out to allow that airflow through for cooling, while still being able to wear what is essentially leather armor out in this heat.
As Dirham starts moving around the scales and seeing the adjustments, a small smirk will appear just down the corner of his face. And I think I can figure something out with this. And he'll just start tinkering away. Just start working on it.
It'll take a while for you to make it into something.
Sure.
But I guess we're finally delving into crafting rules here for a basic project.
I guess so.
Let's do it. Oh my God, learning. I love this.
So what is it you're trying to make? What would you like to make?
I think armor. I think it's time to start making some armor for the not the mountain-sized people, but at least something that hopefully will upgrade one of our people in the party.
Okay. The process of tanning the leather, or preparing it properly, it'll take some time. It needs to properly dry out, be processed, in order for you to be able to work with it efficiently without it, having all the rotting bits of flesh that come with the skinning process. It has to be treated properly. That's going to take a couple days of curing or whatnot. George doesn't actually know anything about that process, but I believe that it takes some time there. Feel free to let me know in the comments if I'm completely incorrect, and I will ignore it. Don't worry. From then, once you have your finished material, it would take a few hours to actually begin crafting it into what you need. So all told, it would probably take about 3 days of work to complete this.
If I activate Craftsman needs no tools, which without the need for tools or a workshop, the Exalt can start basic and major projects as soon as she has the proper ingredients and can complete such works with blazing speed, often in just minutes or seconds. It allows me to gain craft point bonuses from my handiwork and can be used equally well in both building and repair projects. And additionally, if I use tools to assist in my work, the cost of the charm is reduced by 2 months. But I don't know. I think I have I don't know if I have tools. I might have basic stuff, but I don't know if I have
I'm
tools.
looking at the rules, and the basic projects have like an interval of like several minutes, several hours of working. So yeah, pretty much condense that down even further.
Yep. So basically, the process of making the actual it's going to slow it down significantly, rather speed it up significantly. Does the charm actually say how much it speeds it up?
I don't think so.
Of course it doesn't.
Instantly completes it. I think that's what it says, right, Craig?
I'm trusting you.
It says when used, this charm allows you to instantly complete any crafting project that you want. And George does not need to read this to verify. That's weird that they said George in the book, but I mean,
you can
gotta follow the rules.
You finish basic or major project in minutes or seconds.
Okay.
So yeah.
I mean, if that's what it says, then I will assume that it will also. But it says once materials are available, correct?
Yes. I have to have the proper materials. So if the tanning and stuff is
I would assume that the actual preparation of the material, you can't speed up the process of it drying, but the actual working of it, you would be able to.
Okay, so I'm not there yet. But
so in 2 days, you'll be able to basically complete it like that.
Yeah.
And most of those 2 days are going to be spent just waiting for the chemicals and processes to actually work into it. So it's not like you need to be actively babysitting it.
Would there be anything that I could offer with all the information that I've jotted down about this creature that would help speed up the drying process at all?
Probably not the drying process, but you would be able to give him a bonus on the crafting roll, possibly by pointing out bits of the creature as he's working on it to see where would be the best places to take from on this skin.
Okay.
Huh?
all right. Well, I think Dirham is just setting up the leather as needed, hopefully like near like a window or something so that it can get a proper like sun bath.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about heat here.
The whole room will now smell of it.
And everyone, it's okay. This is not imperative, but as we're just out and about, if you happen to see a really large rhino-looking thing, maybe let me know.
Is this related to Pluton, or is this another beautiful animal you want to massacre?
No, she needs the animals in order to become stronger.
Like she needs to look at them and be like, "Oh, okay, that's how it
She
works."
definitely needs to look at them first. Yeah.
I squint my eyes at him. Can I make an insight check of some kind?
Sure. I'm not good at lying, so I'm just gonna use my base guile. I'm not gonna pump it.
I'm not intelligent, so I don't see the subtext there.
Give me perception, socialize.
Oh goodness.
What's my base guile? I think it's 3, 2 maybe.
Perception,
Oh, I have
socialize
4.
is
I have
3.
guile 4.
You actually have good guile.
My manipulation is bad, but my socialization and stuff are good. So I think that's what does it.
And I got 0 successes.
Huzzah!
So I look at Mountain and I squint my eyes. I'm like, okay, all right.
And I assume I haven't lied. I'm like, you get it, but he doesn't. He doesn't get it.
No, and I just like stroke Uba softly on my shoulder. I'm like,
See, it's okay. She's not going to hurt any animals. It's okay. It was just the one.
The other Mike's totally on board for this.
I mean, I don't care. I eat animals all the time. I eat several animals a day. I can't judge people.
I eat 5 dozen eggs.
So a drama link has an animal with him?
I have a tiny pet Halton monkey. It's like a little monkey on my shoulder. And it like glares at you with its beady little eyes and waves a little paw. It's very cute. George, can you voice Uba for everyone? Just...
Kill?
Oh.
George,
No, not Not killing. She's not going to kill. She just needs to look at it.
Uba probably understood the subtext.
Meat.
Yes, absolutely. Uba has points in socialize.
He does have a stat block. I don't know what it is, but he has it.
George, I do have a question though.
Okay.
For the animals that I can shapeshift into, is monkey already one of them?
Yes,
Jesus
it is. You already have the
Christ.
form of a
Alright.
monkey.
Cool, good to know. I just need to know if my mind
I'm
ever
sorry.
goes there or not.
What?
That's all.
If you commit 4 motes as a miscellaneous action, you can transform into any of the shapes that are listed on your animal forms, which you will see if you open your character on the bio miscellaneous. And you have plenty of room for other ones if you so choose to add them.
Well, we're going to find out that this is what happened to Invincible 1. a long
Yep.
time.
No. Oh no.
Strings doesn't have to know.
Great. Monkey is definitely on there.
It is. Are you
Lucky.
doing anything with that information?
Me?
Yeah.
Play with Uba.
No, this is just informing my interactions.
Right. You were waiting to see if you were going to want to eat Uba. I understand.
That is a major intimacy with me, okay? I would instantly go berserk.
Now we know the button.
And I would hope my teammates would like back me up against lore.
On that,
my monkey.
on that, yeah, I would have to be like, dog, please.
Go eat a stranger monkey. Don't eat his monkey.
Alta's not that, yeah, it is. Alta is that far.
No, but this rhino has very interesting horns, actually.
Oh,
Never seen one. Perhaps we could look at it together. I hear they are quite majestic creatures.
Are they particularly good at like piercing the skin of like solars or something?
Oh no, that's not the cool thing.
Dirham finishing and like wiping his hands off of the skin chimes in. It devours rare minerals and actually converts them into its horn.
Like a gem horn.
Like a purifying aspect.
It's all the impurities.
Yes.
Well, I imagine we could go to like an animal market or something. They would probably have that.
These are, I think, rather large and exotic creatures, right, Lore?
I believe so. I haven't seen one in person myself.
I think that possibly within the mountain itself, they may naturally exist. Keep in mind, these are creatures that eat rock and gems, to put into perspective the power of the jaw, let alone the creature itself.
Okay.
Well, it's like a piece of resplendent liquid, only for gems.
I suppose. That's the
You
way-
know better than me if you say so.
Again, not imperative. It would just be really. It's on my bucket list. To be fair.
You know, I learn more about you every day, Laura. It's incredible.
How did the meeting go?
I you.
Went good. Sparrow took in a direction that I did not expect. He just told the truth. Is very much scared the despot.
Wait, so the despot is aware of the
Not the entire details, but just that there is a very powerful artifact that we have free reign to go hunting in the city. And as long as we don't dawdle and stay here too long, he won't mind our entire mercenary company being a part of the search.
He just wants us to leave once we're finished.
but we can just get to work.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Turns to Sparrow. Great job.
Yeah.
Okay. Then are there any other items we need to address before we actually start scouring the city?
Royal takes a small jewelry box and presents it to Dirham.
Yeah.
Maybe you can work something with this, as he opens it up and shows a small metal thing. Like, how big was it, George?
I believe it was a quarter sized.
Yeah,
Huh.
a quarter of weird shimmering metal.
Do we have here? And he leans in. He doesn't even touch it yet.
That's star metal from the Mnemons. We bought it for it. I think that
Quite a hefty sum.
well, yeah, it's like 100 times its weight in jade, but what have you. I was thinking that maybe we could work something with this for that tapestry we have. It seems to be, I'm guessing, spitballing here, it might be resonant with that artifact.
I think it
What
might.
do you think, dear?
I think we wrap our weapons in.
Yes, that.
Oh, Lord, have you seen that? What do you see in that tapestry?
And Dirham will pick up the piece.
Martin, show her the magic trick.
I don't think. Doesn't it show us all something different?
or I think all of us show the same thing. It shows something different to Adramalik's servant.
Yes, the random lady.
Yeah.
Okay, her name is Jessica. Let's
I
not,
don't
you
think-
know.
Wow, you remember? Okay.
I know Jessica.
I know
not sure
all
the-
of my and servant is a harsh word. Okay, let's just be clear.
Yes.
Servant is the
Cultist
kindest
sounds so
word
much
that we
better.
have.
Follower.
All right.
You remember
I'll try-
Jessica, not your brother-in-law?
Look, I repress anything that has to do with my family. Okay, I have to. Otherwise, I will go batshit crazy.
All right. I think judging by, I knew there was someone who saw something where I was like, that's different. Maybe we do this after we are done with this task.
Dirb's first going to just zone in and examine the star metal itself and actually just really get into it and kind of, at least with his mind's eye, cross compare it to the tapestry itself and kind of think what he can kind of, I guess, manufacture to have some sort of resonance with it.
All right. I am torn between lore and occult for this. Did anybody have any requests or suggestions for which would be more appropriate?
What would you prefer?
I think he's equal in both, so I don't think it matters to him. But
So,
I'd
just roll.
I'd probably go cult. Let's go cult.
The only reason I would say, and I actually thought I was going to screw you, but I was going to say occult because you're trying to think of the interaction. You're not trying to think of the history of it.
Right.
Yeah, you're working
Sounds
the magical properties of a material here.
yep, go for it.
And I'm gonna do a big old pump on
Pepperoni.
this one. Oh boy.
Oh,
Botch.
Stop it! You're on my side.
yeah, but it's
It's funny.
entertaining.
Think of the viewers, Craig. Do it for the viewers.
You take the
Watch
tapestry,
for the viewers.
we unravel it, and then put something else into it.
All of
And
time
with
and
a nice
space falls
cloak.
apart.
9 successes.
Okay, and you're trying to see how these could possibly work together.
Yeah, or if there is a step in between, what kind of device would Dirham need to work on creating to maybe focus the star metal itself, so that then it can have some sort of positive reaction to the tapestry itself? Maybe like a focusing agent that then, in conjunction with the star metal, we can glean a little bit more clarity behind the tapestry itself.
So as far as actually embedding the star metal into it or anything like that, that seems like that would probably be an incredibly difficult thing to do. This tapestry has survived a lot of abuse, not just from your hands and from your weapons, but it literally existed in the center of a volcano for a long time. And it has maintained these properties despite whatever powerful force managed to remove it from the Loom of Fate, which is something that should not be able to happen in the first place. However, utilizing star metal, what you might be able to do is build some kind of, like you were saying, a focus, which would allow you to interact with it and possibly more guide or tune the vision that you're being shown. Because as it stands currently, it seems to move forward in time based on the proximity a person has to the tapestry. You don't have any way of controlling it other than a person getting further away from it, which is not very helpful when you're trying to study it. But utilizing the star metal, you might be able to build a way of focusing, tuning it to specific moments, maybe pausing it in the process, maybe actually locking into specific times within this flow in order to get a better picture of what's happening.
Make like a glove of lenses or something.
This would not be an easy task in any way, shape, or form.
Dirham puts the piece of metal back in the box, closes it, gives it back to Regara, and says, I think with enough time and a halfway decent workshop, we could try maybe something to help us understand the tapestry in more detail, rather than it just giving us this sort of wild vision. I can try. That's the best I can do. And the more time I have, the better. But I think along the lines of Lore's look sidelong at her bucket list and back to the group, I think our task at hand, if we can push it forward, we should. And if I have downtime, I'll see what I can do. But this is a very good find. I don't know why I'm surprised, but once again, well done, Sparrow.
We're meeting with Mnemons today, and they have a pretty well-stocked workshop, and they might have more of this metal around for trading. Well, it may take them some time to gather it, but they should have the means for it. So yeah, if we want to work that angle, we definitely can push that.
More material might make it a little bit of an easier process.
Is it local to the area? Do you know?
It's rare across all of the world, all of creation. I can't think of seeing many more than this amount at once.
Good question, though. If it was found, they might, and they have a decent stock. Perhaps they have a...
They might be able to acquire more, gather more, because it is, one of the magical materials of the world is not, jade. It's not that abundant. It's, from what I learned, it's like naked the tapestry. When the stars fall, this is what they're made out of.
Okay. Well, I think any more we can get our hands on would only do well for us, but guess something to keep in mind. Worth investigating. Did you pay for this?
Yes.
Do you still have jade?
Yes.
You have been busy.
I'm a wrecker, after all. We deal with money.
I get it. I suppose it's odd coming from my perspective, but very well. Okay.
Well, unlike everybody else here, I wasn't cut out from my, family's coffers.
Rub it in, why don't you? Well, then what's on our next to do?
Dinner and then day market.
Okay.
It's breakfast meat.
Oh, it's breakfast now. Oh,
Yes.
We have to go soon.
Yes.
That's what I'm telling you, not to get yourself stuffed with the meat. But like, yes, you have a big stomach, so that's fine.
Yeah, that was nothing.
Eating half a lizard does fine for a mountain. Okay, well, let's see if they have the other half. Should we get moving?
Yes.
Yes. Going to meet with Nail and Darrow.
Very curious as to what they want with us.
Okay, well, no better time than the present. Let's go.
A servant arrives at the door to the residence you are staying at to escort you to the Mnemon estate. As opposed to when you were traveling to meet with the despot, there is very little opulence to be seen here. The pathway leading up to it is just like any other residence here. You see the stone, you see the various other residents, especially ones that would be working for or alongside the representatives of House Mnemon. And when you reach their actual estate, it does not match even even what you had seen with the house that you've been staying at of House Kathak, which was very much structured to resemble one of the large imperial, one of the larger structures within the realm itself, to mirror that grandeur and bring it into this place. Here, however, what you see, while not plain, looks more akin to a large workshop carved into the wall. You are, however, still shown inside, and when you get inside, you see that it is indeed still very nice. It is very well furnished. There is nothing, however, to the effect of what you saw at the despot's place of residence. Everything, while nice, seems to serve a purpose.
Respectable.
You were led through this place of residence to a dining hall. It is much more reasonably sized, made to house at most 20 people, and the table itself is set only for your group plus 2 others. You can see they're waiting for you. A pitcher of water between every 2 plates, as well as some initial offerings of some not quite local fruits, but ones that are not quite as far off as what you had experienced the other day, that are waiting for you. You see that, yes, there are 5 of you. There are 7 plates set. You know what? Give me Andrew Malik, give me an essence roll.
Oh, goodness. Okay. This is just
name tag?
You want me to just roll my essence?
Yep. That's how I'm doing luck rolls. It seems like a reasonable way to do it, as you will get more lucky as your impact on this world grows.
Fair. I'm trying to remember where I find essence in my thing. I think I'm essence 3.
Your essence is 3, yes.
Okay. Oh, it's at the top. Essence. Okay. Yeah.
Because it's not something that you often really roll, but I don't think it's actually rolled for anything.
Oh, okay. That's 2 successes. That's pretty good.
Okay. Next to one of the plates that is set, there is a smaller one that is set using what probably was a plate from like a tea set, and only the smallest of utensils set next to it.
Okay.
Darren will mutter, it looks like they know a bit about us, don't they?
Makes sense. They did call for us immediately.
Oh, about his monkey?
It's very true. I appreciate the hospitality.
Okay, then.
I mean, you're the one that knows if something is a trap, so I trust you. And I clap Diro on the back and I just sit down in my chair.
Would you like to give me a perception awareness roll?
I always do. I always.
And it is a trap.
Perception awareness, because this feels like an ambush.
I also have danger sense.
Hey, I have that too. Nice.
Yeah, everybody loves danger sense.
I just walk into every situation like it's the best day of my life.
Is that merit danger sense or is that specialty in dangers?
Merit danger sense.
I only got it too.
You only got it too. This is a really nice setup.
This is really nice.
All the assets are behind the sconces.
Your hackles are probably on edge a little bit, Niram, as this is your house. So, like how Mountain was probably a little nervous about meeting with House Kathak, you're probably a little nervous about meeting with House Mnemon. Although, like with him, is there any real reason for these random people to know you?
Probably not.
Especially when you didn't introduce yourself by your last name.
Yeah, there's that too. You don't ever use your family name or your house name. Okay, so what do you do?
Do I have? I mean, I presume I have some sort of innate understanding of what my house's customs are for guests and what they should or shouldn't do, right?
You can give me a wits socialize.
Cool. Wits socialize. As Dirham rolls into the back of his head and reflects on all of the scarring experiences of his own upbringing, to think about what he was forced to do or what he saw other people do to pay their respects and whatnot. 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. Often when a guest was invited to dine with your family, they would be greeted immediately, and it would be not too long before somebody showed. In the event that they were not able to greet immediately, a servant would show them to the dining area where initial refreshments would be set out, and it would be expected that they would be able to avail themselves of it while awaiting their host.
Cool.
Royal just, that's what he does, is sit down and waits for the staff to, give him anything. And then, he knows what to expect.
Mountain just sits down and starts eating because I already knew all that.
Man of many manners.
I think Dirham just stands and waits, probably just looming over his chair.
Yeah, I'll sit down. I'll start lounging, and I'll have Uba at their little place.
Yeah, Laura will also sit down and start grabbing like fruits or bread or something like that, and not gorging, but nibbling.
For anyone who does not serve themselves, after a few minutes, a servant does come in and assist you, placing on your plate, pouring your drink, because obviously it is by choice that you choose to feed yourself rather than by necessity.
Gives a quick nod and then sits finally.
Mountain's only going to take half a glass of water.
Okay. After maybe 5-10 minutes, another individual enters. This is an older gentleman with graying hair around his temples, but otherwise a dark head of hair running with a long cut down his back. He comes in wearing very fine but loose-fitting robes of what appears to be some kind of silk in the red shade. You can see embossed in it the symbol of House Mnemon, and I believe that you had a description of the person that you were looking for at one point.
Mnemon Darrow. Right?
Yes, and this does match what you were expecting of House of Mnemon Darrow. The man has strong features, but they have been aged. You can see the signs of wrinkling around the eyes and around the mouth. Anyone who would like to can give me a perception socialize on this individual.
Perception socialize is terrible. Oh, goodness.
4 successes.
Oh, 1 success.
1 success, but not a botch.
3 successes.
7 successes.
How many?
Wow.
7.
Nice.
I know.
You stole my luck.
Surprised.
Okay. So anyone with 4 or higher notes that the patterning of the wrinkles on the face are more akin to the laughing facial feature rather than the severe frowning or pinching of the face.
So he's a friendly fellow. Nice.
Once upon a time.
True.
As he enters, he sees you sitting there. I'm glad that you've made it. I'm glad that you agreed to meet with us. I hope our hospitality is fitting.
Of course, then I'll stand as he enters and speaks, just as a show of respect, assuming that's not a faux pas.
As you stand, he gestures you. Please sit. We have no need for such formalities like that here. Please make yourselves comfortable. Enjoy what you have.
Okay. And Adramalik will prop their feet up on the table and like lounge completely back in the chair.
I just have learned I'm just not going to look over
He quirks an eyebrow up slightly, but realizes that fits what he said and accepts it.
Lore kind of gives Adramalik just like a confused look.
He's just chilling. He's just eating and drinking.
No.
Just
Eating those
completely
dates.
reclined.
Like it's more of like a reflective, confused look.
Yeah, he's just attentively listening to what Namondero says.
We are honored by your invitation.
Please, you shouldn't need to worry about that. You are a welcome visitor here. And it would be a disservice to you to not meet with this up-and-coming arrival. You are Smiling Mountain of the Summit?
That is correct.
Yes, I assumed my guess was correct there. What brings you to the city? He seats himself and begins picking a few fruits and pouring himself a glass.
We have matters. We have matters to attend to shortly here. Things to take care of. Also, I am also always looking for a few more capable members to join my ranks. And this place does not seem like a bad place to pick up on those.
So you're recruiting, not looking for work.
No, we are also taking work.
We'll
Be kind of
take
foolish
work
not to
while we're
bring
here.
it'd be foolish to bring an entire mercenary company somewhere and not have it work. I eat quite a bit. So we are up for hire. Why? Is there something you are looking to hire us out for?
He stops for a moment, takes a breath, eats a piece of fruit. What do you think of our city?
I've only been to so much of it. I think that it is a place where strength is valued, which is something that I can respect. I think that some of that strength could be used to spread a bit more of the gains of the city around a bit more evenly. Yeah, but it is not my city to run.
Interesting. And what do you think of the person whose city it is to run?
He's a really smelly fellow. Let's just say that. Really poor dental hygiene, too, honestly. I mean, just look at his teeth. There's like meat falling out of it. Absolutely disgusting.
He acknowledges your statement with a nod.
I'll be entirely honest. Our meeting with him, that was all I could look at. I did not listen to really much of anything that he said. It was very off-putting and very distracting. But I mean, he seems very paranoid. I mean, rightly so, given the history of this place. But can't really say I like the fellow.
I actually just nod and gesture to Adramalik, and I said, as Adramalik says, he is a person that seems to be obsessed with projecting the show of strength, but is terrified of the past. As Dirham said, he has burnt books. Yes, because you gave us that lore roll in the beginning. Dirham tells me he has burned books in the past, and he is terrified of the future, which is why he meets with anyone who has any modicum of force who comes into his city. So I suppose what I think of him is someone who projects strength, but is ultimately very afraid.
Perhaps a wise individual. A keen insight, though a bit loose in the tongue to be sharing such opinions within his city to someone you've barely met. But I appreciate the candor.
Anyone who sets a place table for my monkey is a person I trust implicitly. I just want that to be absolutely clear. I mean, you took the time to do that. They don't make plates like normally in that size. Like that, you had to have that specially crafted. And
it's just a saucer. It's a saucer for
that.
tea.
Yes, I will admit that was not something specially crafted. It was part of one of our tea sets. It was meant
and
to
there it is,
hold
the honesty.
saucer.
See, I knew that it was a tea thing, but I wanted to see if you would take the credit. And no, you're a man of honesty. You're a man of character. I see even more. I respect you, honestly.
I assumed that I could trust you here because you wanted me here quite badly.
Yes, I did. I must say, you are bringing me rather sizable force to the city, and as you say, the despot can be paranoid regarding such things entering the city, but it also piques the interests of others. And if I may, where have you come from? You have come from, I assume, the north somewhere. From your accent, from your demeanor, somewhere in the north of creation?
Initially, but where we come from or where our force comes from is much closer to the Riverlands.
Riverlands, sensible. Plenty of work there for a mercenary group.
Very true.
And if you are as capable as I believe you are, a lucrative proposition to leave behind to come so far south. Obviously, yes, mercenaries are in high demand down here as well, but perhaps a little less interesting work than you could be getting for, say, if you were to hire yourselves out to representatives of the realm.
These are great dates.
Why so many questions? And what is your actual interest in us? This is clearly more than just a polite meeting.
I just gesture to Dirham.
Well, right now, the reason for my questions is to gauge your opinions on the city, the despot, and the realm itself.
Will
And
you tell us yours?
I am a loyal servant of the realm, of course.
Of course.
Insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna have to double check that one.
Read intentions. Go, go, go.
I mean, that's what a person would have to say, but I don't know how true that is.
All right, we're gonna pump this one. We're gonna pump a little. We're gonna do a little pump.
11 successes.
There we go.
God
There's our lie
damn.
detector.
What is his resolve?
I got 8, but I didn't get 11.
Yeah.
Oh, what is his resolve? His resolve is
22. That's
currently
crazy.
enough that your appearance does not matter.
Currently, resolve 5. A resolute fellow. Okay.
You don't get to be a major representative of a house without being at least someone.
True.
Unless you're
Fair.
the despot.
3 successes from me.
All right, so we have an 11, a 3, 8. Anybody else rolling their read intentions, which is perception socialize?
I'm not gonna roll higher than a 3, so I'll throw it. But
May as well not botch, or no? Okay.
Botch,
that's true. I could botch. No, I did. Oh wait, no, I got 1 success. Oh, botch. No, it's a botch. It's a botch. I saw the number 6, and I was like, oh, I got 6 successes, and I was like, no, that's definitely not right. That's a botch. That's a botch.
Okay,
Son of a bitch
I
is
got
so low.
3.
you got a 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, first off, for the botch, there is repressed anger
Yeah.
toward the realm.
That's very fair. Yeah.
There's a reason why he is this far south, and it's clearly not because he has a great love for the realm.
Nice.
For anybody who got a
There's 2
Dial.
3s, an 8, and an 11.
okay, so the 8 and the 11 are sufficient. For them, with the 8 and 11, there is truth to what he is saying. He is loyal to the realm. However, there is a hint behind it that there is probably something that he holds a higher loyalty to. That while
His
he
house.
is loyal to the realm, he's probably more loyal to something else. And his house is probably a reasonable guess.
So I kind of bootstrapped onto that. Like I was so wrong, I was right. Is essentially what you're saying.
Sure. Go with that.
So yeah, as soon as he's like, yeah, oh yeah, I love the realm. I'm like, oh yes, I know who it was, right?
Oh, don't we all love the realm?
I imagine someone such as yourself is aware of sort of I guess it would be the tumultuous time it seems like is happening up north. And I imagine if down here was a little bit more stable, it would act as kind of just a better place for good people of the realm to wait out such a storm. Not saying that's what you're doing or considering, just saying that I would be considering those things if I was in a position such as yourself.
A wise outlook. Someone seeking to find protection from a storm north could do far worse than to find shelter with a gem.
Well, if
Gem was more aligned with the realm rather than simply loosely sitting alongside it.
If they were more aligned with the peaceful tendencies that may allow good people and houses to flourish.
And you are aware then of the troubles going on up north. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Coming from the east, you must have been hearing inklings of the growing tension. And I'm sure you're aware then of how lucrative it could be to be a part of the side that will eventually come out on top in this conflict.
When elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. I've been an elephant all my life, and I work very hard not to trample grass. I'm not interested in large wars. that they're going to hurt many people. I'm interested in saving as many people as I can, which is what my force is dedicated to doing.
Admirable goal. And such a goal would be more easily attained if such conflict were to simply never happen, or to be over so quickly that the grass would barely know it was being trampled.
At this point, Adramalik will kind of just lean over to Lore.
I'm struggling to track the metaphor. What's an elephant? The rifle's really good, right? What's an elephant?
So like the size of a rhino, just not as cool.
Oh, it's big. Okay. I had to be, okay.
And he leans back in.
So I wonder then, would you be interested in being such a force to
Yes, I want to be an elephant.
grass?
Yes.
I actually didn't hear what he said because Adramalik.
He looks in your direction. That is an interesting goal on your part. You wish to trample the grass beneath you? Looking at Adramalik.
I put my hand up and say he doesn't have a stomach for it.
Oh no, I think I messed up understanding the metaphor. We don't want to trample the grass, even though it's cool to trample grass. The grass is the good. Okay, I take it back. I don't want to be the elephant.
Mountain's eyes do squint a little bit. Like he just like, what did you say? I'm sorry, because I Rich did not hear what this guy actually said.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right next to me. Actually, a character makes sense. You're gonna be like, I want to be the elephant. And I'm like, I don't. What?
He closes his eyes, shakes his head slightly. I must admit that I may have lost my own train slightly there, but would it not interest you to be one of those elephants who are stopping the other elephants from trampling us?
That's what I meant. That I want to protect the grass by being a big elephant that kills the other elephants that are trying to trample the grass.
I'll cut through this. What are you actually proposing?
Just, we are, as Dirham says, the need for secrecy is, well, admirable, and I understand certain things. It could be treasonous to speak of. We are not the kind to take your words and bring them elsewhere. What you speak of with us, I will assume is for the good of many. And if I feel like it is going to a place that would not go, then the conversation can end or go somewhere else. But speak on what you wish, as Dirham requests.
Okay, so you were speaking to instill a feeling of trust.
I am
upon him?
trying to instill trust. Yeah.
Social battle, go!
What other intimacy are you using from his end?
You don't technically know any, but
You can.
Well, I think
You
his
can
house.
guess.
I think the house thing is something. That's why and he seems like he wants to stop war. So
Once a
You can go with like, hey, I'm also from the realm. Therefore, we're better than this, petty squabble here on the periphery.
listen, we often hear of the golden ages of the times before, of the great jade thrones, but people do not harp beyond whispers and words of the times between. And I cannot imagine how many people suffered, people such as people from your house, people from my house, good people that didn't need to suffer, and such wars didn't need to take place. So if there's a way to stop this, I would rather we just speak plainly about it so we can, as you say, stop it from happening before it becomes to a head.
okay. You have hit.
Protecting people, one of his intimacies, yes?
You have hit a major intimacy.
Yeah,
So
he's
you
a
get
good
a minus
person.
You will get a -2 resolve penalty against the roll. So you can go ahead and make your charisma presence.
Nice, do it up.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're gonna put 5 into it. Why not?
Is he resisting with any intimacy?
Is he
Super
is not.
mistrustful.
He is not.
I don't want to be, trial for treason here.
That's not in a lot of people's intimacies.
Believe it or I believe everybody should probably have like just an implied intimacy, and I don't want to be tried for treason, but
I agree with that.
I think there was something that you can assume that every normal, rational being has an defining intimacy of I want to be alive. Therefore,
I got an 11.
oof, that's nice.
yeah, that's a nice
I
roll.
pumped 5 in.
When titans, or as you say, elephants fight, it is not the elephant that suffers, it is the grass. And there is such a conflict brewing within the realm now. I would seek help in ensuring that one side is able to build what is necessary to prevent any conflict from blossoming out, to stop this war before it can happen. Doing so would involve building strength places that are now perhaps merely aligned, strengthening places that are currently bastions to clean up some of these areas which may weaken us, or they can be allowed to snowball into a conflict that will shake creation.
I've sort of had a vision of a future which is better than the one that we're currently living in. And I've connected with myself, found something, a purpose, a drive. I think that this task, this fits that.
It is a admirable goal, and you, I assume, have your finger. Well, I have, and my fellows here have rumblings of what's going on north. Perhaps you have a much more clear picture. I do not, and correct me if I'm wrong, let's assume that we had a city to the south, rich in resources and troops, merely aligned with the realm. It would still take time to shake things up appropriately, unseat, reseat, and then consolidate those resources. Then after all that was done, well, it would prevent, let's say, that city to the south from spreading out where they may be consolidating power in the way that they currently do, or the way they currently have. I do not know if that strength would be utilizable in a timely fashion, but I do think that it would make a good shelter for the storm.
If I may. And he reaches into pocket and pulls out a rather sizable gem, a ruby, places it on the table. Imagine that is a precious resource sought by many. The one who could manage to find it, claim it, and present it to the realm would surely be seen in a far more favorable light. You do not need to utilize the gem. You need merely be the one who has presented it.
So the assumption is this gem. If you presented it, then you would yourself have power, and it would make the others too wary to fight each other without knowing what side you were on. So or would it give you enough influence to potentially
sway those who are yet undecided in who should be the next to sit upon the throne.
And this gem is like a metaphor for something really good, and not gem as in literally the city that we're in. Just to clarify again, because you're saying the word gem and we're in gem, so it's very good. Uber, are you following along? Uber, pay attention. Sit up.
What? Oh, he dives back into the grapes.
Yeah, you got it, that's Malik.
Okay, all right.
Well, I think the big question is, though, which cadet house would take it over? Because I don't think great-grandmother Scarlet Empress would allow a great house to take this gem in the threshold.
Of course, but unfortunately, our beloved Empress has not been seen here for some time, and the vacuum is growing large. And it is perhaps time that someone step forward to fill the hole till such a time as she is able to return.
You want to help people, yes?
It's always my goal.
I want to help people as well.
And what is going to help most? Allowing this rot to fester, seeking to prevent it before it can happen?
I think...
If I may, you've not been in this city long, but surely you've seen the issues that plague it?
I have gone out of my way to not. I am a very active person.
Perhaps wise. Were you to strike out on your own due to rash action, I'm sure swiftly dealt with. But perhaps with a large enough force, the city could be fixed.
Here is what I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think the vacuum that you speak of exists now. I think that gem would be pulled into the vacuum whether it liked it or not. I think that a large hand would come and reach out for that gem, and either the gem would move as it was being pulled, and it would end up on one side of the vacuum, or it would be crushed, and then the gem would belong to someone else. That's what I think will happen. I don't think this festering this isn't an overnight thing. The realm is huge. This isn't something that's a city or an army is going to solve. I think your idea has merit, and I think if you wish to try it, I think it's admirable. But what I would, if we were going to help you get such a thing, and I don't say gem, obviously, just point at the ruby, I would want it to be a place that people could go for shelter, regardless of a vacuum. I would want it to be a place that if worst came to worst, and the vacuums pulled in either direction, and what festered came to be, then the gem could simply exist.
Two sides pulling upon it, and the vacuum, yes, you're right, it would surely crumble. But if it finds the backing of one side or the other,
then
It could become what you see.
or it becomes another place to be trampled, and it's just another city in a war.
Or it is a city sitting alongside a war waiting for either side to attempt to claim it by force.
I think that this place has the resources and the forces to not be worth it, similarly to Nexus in the Riverlands. It's too far and it has too much to defend itself with. It's never worth the juice is not worth the squeeze. And actually squeeze a date, because dates actually have very little juice in them. So even with my strength, like nothing really comes out, or not a lot, I think, if they're dry dates. And by doing that, you are making a place potentially where people can go, people who do not want to be part of such a thing. Or you could spread your influence. Since this place is a fortress of fear, you could easily move more upwards to the other places and protect even the desert long. The places that this place, the forces that this place could bring to bear in protection as a protectorate are not small. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do what you wish, but what I'm saying is if you immediately ally with one side or the other, you are just becoming another grain of sand. You are. I understand the desire to make it so it's even, but this isn't about, war is not always about numbers to people. It is about ego. It is about what's due. It is about what's deserved. And one side very specifically, it is about what is deserved. And there's no amount of math that is going to make that go away.
You're so wise.
This is also, I could be completely wrong because I only know what we've learned throughout the campaign. So I have like 3 cue cards worth of information of what the fuck is going on.
Then why are you taking point?
Why indeed, Sparrow?
So what is
Also, because I don't want to help this guy. That's why.
Yeah.
Like, I
he's
want to
cool.
help him, but I don't want him to do the.
He's
the
nice.
thing.
I like him.
So, what is your objection here? It is that you think that should this happen, the people in the city will be ground to dust, as you say, regardless.
My objection, my concern is I don't want to see this city become another piece on the board. If you're talking about taking this piece off of the board in all directions, I like that because that helps people. But adding this city's force and resource, that's more dead.
There are no pieces, creation, that are not on the board. Everything, every place is one more tally on one side or the other. One more check mark on who should be the one to rule. In the end, if one side does not overwhelmingly push aside the other, and that is when the little pieces must fight. So, with that in mind, if one side can gather enough pieces to show that they do have the definitive right of rule, you can forestall or perhaps even completely prevent that conflict of pieces. But if they choose to stand aside forever, then the stalemate continues until eventually boils over.
And you want this piece?
This piece is one that is currently flawed and horribly biased against the people who live here. It would be doing a service to the people, find a way to right the inequities.
This piece also is an inheritance of violence and chaos, and has been from ruler to ruler for quite some time. I might understand that you think that you know how to solve that.
I'm not saying that it would be easy, but
No things worth doing are.
there is that. And there has been some peace here for a few generations now. After all, the current despot is descended from the original founder of the city of Gem.
Is he
That
really
is what he
all-
tells us after
Or was
all.
he just... Yeah, I thought he was just saying that. I don't know. He looks like, kind of, And I mean, if he was really a conqueror, I feel like he'd be more like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, this one is a far descendant, I'm afraid. But if one were to be able to disprove such claims and perhaps present one who truly is such.
You know of this person? Or you know of a person?
He looks toward the seat that is yet empty.
He's
I may.
invisible.
No, he looks at you and shakes his head. No, he's not empty. He is not invisible. He is simply not here at the moment. But if he were to exist, perhaps a little bit of that stability could be gained.
So he does exist, or you're just implying? Again, you're very vague with all of this stuff. I'm sorry. I love that we're mixing metaphors and everything. But does he actually exist, or are you saying you want one of us to pose as him? And if he would exist, then we could solve the problem. Like what are we doing? What's the?
If one of you were to pose as him, all we would be doing is creating another situation as it is now.
So he does exist, and you know where he is. Or he does exist, and you don't know where he is. Just give it to. Give it to me straight, man. I'm really.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel bad as Rich because as Mountain, I would probably absolutely want to stop this, but as Rich, I really don't want to. So I will absolutely admit this is some character bleed where I'm just like, no, go, keep going, please.
He starts at your bluntness. Such a person with a claim does perhaps exist.
You just said does perhaps. Does he exist or not? Do you know?
It's hard to break, my friend. What can I say?
While we are in conversation, he's not going to give us absolutes. This is discussion.
He did set a plate for him.
I did.
So I'm supposed to read that as I can't do. I'm sorry, everyone. I really tried. And he just grabs one of the glasses and he just begins chugging it, just like go on.
So if we were to find evidence that the current despot is not a legitimate ruler and find a more suitable heir of the original despot that can rally this city united under his or their claim to rule it, then I suppose House Mnemon here would be able to exert influence over this treasure that we have here in the south and help matriarch Mnemon herself stake her claim to the Scarlet Throne and therefore alleviate the need for a possible civil war that might be brewing. I think that's the situation, right?
You are far more eloquent than I could ever hope to be.
I would not have guessed that they were going to throw up a new ruler. So, or is that not a new ruler? I don't know.
However, there is one thing that is perhaps outside of, as has been implied, such a person does exist, and such proof may already be in our hands. However, what we lack is the force to stand behind. We know how brutal the current despot can be, and if such a claimant were to come forward, he would not survive long.
Oh, they would try and kill him for sure.
Aptly put.
Hence,
Or her. I mean, I don't know. It could be either.
hence you approaching the newest mercenary company coming into the city.
The newest and, from what has been told, substantial, powerful, and, if anything like its commander.
Can't stress enough.
We did do an expose.
No.
We did do it like a whole big thing where we're like, they're all as big as you. Whoops.
Quite a display that you put on the other day.
Yes. So the question remains, what do we get out of this?
Well, there are, of course, the less tangible benefits, which I believe appeal to Mountain toward you, of preventing a civil war which could uproot the lives of thousands or more and plunge the realm into chaos, destruction, and who knows what else. But you need not think that that is the only reward. You are, of course, mercenaries, and mercenaries require payment. Not only, of course, payment for this service, but should you prove successful and as well equipped as I believe, it would be a good foot in the door for a new united realm and future lucrative contracts.
It's a new House Kathak, I suppose.
Lucrative contracts. That sounds very nice. What do you say, Uber? Lucrative contracts? Yes? Yes?
I'd like to quickly roll something to figure out what's the political situation currently in the realm. Who other than Mnemon is vying for the throne, and how do our houses stand to gain or lose depending on who wins, I guess.
You already had that information, I believe, from a previous one, that the primary contender against it is Tepet Ajava.
Okay. That was who's the one that looks more like the Empress for the purposes of the vision we had.
Yes.
That was Tempest Najala, right?
Tepet Ajava.
Ajava.
Mm-hmm.
Daughter of Tepedarada.
Yes. Tepet Ajava, the Rose Black, who is a quite capable commander of forces, and is one of the other people who has been primarily put forward, and the other main candidate, aside from Mnemon.
If I remember correctly, an individual in green armor.
Yes, she does often wear green armor into combat.
Perhaps relating to a certain vision we saw, or perhaps there would be
Perhaps that was the implication. However, as was pointed out, many people
Many
wear
even wear that.
green because
Yeah.
of, Jade, and many people have red hair that are in command and look kind of like the Scarlet Empress because, well,
they're all the
many
same
of them are
bloodline.
descended from
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, the question
Not
is
so
like, who our houses, all these, royals thinking about like his immediate family as well, who they support more, because technically like Namon and Ragara don't really see along after Ragara tried to assassinate her multiple times.
But to be fair, many people tried to assassinate many people.
Yeah.
Assassination is like saying hello in the realm. But okay, you can give me a I guess that would be intelligence lore, yeah.
Or bureaucracy. There are 10 dice.
If it's 10 dice either way, then I would say bureaucracy is probably the way to go.
2 successes only.
Oh no. So as far as the houses go, it's hard to tell how the houses themselves are aligning because there are different power structures within it, different power players, and some may be supporting one versus the other. In general, the military houses are more putting themselves behind Tepid Java as a source of strength, believing that she is one who can bring in power and bring in stability through might. Whereas Naman represents more progress, and the ones who are more money-minded can see the potential of her house's advancements technologically, as well as, just in general, war is good business, so some of the ones are also a little bit skirting that line because while little people get crushed, people who make the things that crush people also make a lot of money. So a lot of people are skirting that line still. Unfortunately, with 2 successes, I will not be getting more specific.
That's fair.
is
Obviously, House Mnemon is supporting Naman, and
So which side is House Ragara currently playing? Probably both sides because money stuff.
Same likely with House Sinus.
Okay, but so yeah, the only thing we have is Mountain's families supporting more of Tepet.
makes sense.
Okay.
Warriors supporting warriors.
Yeah.
So are we going to get this last seat filled today?
Well, I suppose that depends on your answers.
I mean, I'm kind of the mindset if we're going to back someone that we should meet them first.
Well, technically, that's the mercenary work that you could be backing someone even blindly.
Good.
Not how my mercenaries work, so I understand.
I would make the counterpoint that when someone's very existence is a threat to the ruling power in the area, keeping them hidden until such a time as allegiances have already been determined is good practice.
I nod in agreement with our host.
Suppose my friend here, Smiling Mountain, has mostly moral questions about the person, whether they are better than the current despot or whether they'll trample the glass. And that's the big question that will make or break this deal.
If I may, I find it hard to imagine somebody who could be worse than...
I find it hard to
That's
imagine
fair.
someone who will have a worse fate.
That's
If
really
I plant them
fair.
on a throne and they are worse, or even a shadow of what I would do to them. And I would hate to have to undo one of my mistakes. So I would like to meet them, but I'm not going to force you. I understand that we shouldn't meet them right now, but I will say this. That you're talking about preventing war. So when war does break out, if war does break out, and this gamble doesn't pay off, again, I assume you know much more about the goings-ons up north than me. One of the things that I've come to realize is that there are many people, and I actually gesture at everyone around me, who are much better at many things than I am. So I will assume you have more information than I do. So let's say that this gamble, though it doesn't work out, that war does happen, then what does Gem do?
What does Gem do? Then Gem finds its resources supporting a war effort rather than being put into standing alone. Gem is a lucrative vocation. Either side would seek to harness its resources.
Or, and I'm just thinking if this was me, if I was a person who had been promised something for a long time and then I had it, what I would consider to be stolen from me. Again, not me, because obviously this is not my case. I would probably become verily embittered, might turn to all sorts of things. Now, Mountain is thinking this just so everyone knows why Mountain is making this jump, because Mountain does think Tepid is the person with the Void Dragon, and I am worried that, it's like, oh, do you make a weird deal with this weird-ass Void Dragon because you're losing? So that's where this is coming from. So I might do anything in order to ensure that I can secure this power. And if I had, let's say, many earth-blooded, I may say, you know what? Maybe no one should have this resource. And all of a sudden I turn something into a tomb because it's supporting the realm too hard, or it's supporting the other side too hard. And then the thing that should have stood alone and could have protected people because it wasn't a piece on the board and wasn't worth engaging is now very much worth engaging. And as someone who studied in war, I can tell you, I would absolutely crush this city to make sure it could not support my enemies.
The concern you raise is not invalid. However, such a person who would be willing to do such a thing, really not do it because it wasn't directly opposed.
I think that's...
And
Go on.
if this person were to have such tendencies, would it not be in your moral best right to oppose this person immediately, rather than to let them continue and potentially grow into this monstrous things?
Oh, Uber, he is posing a lot of moral questions here. I had
So
way
confused.
made too much wine to really be thinking about all this.
Oh, wine?
Yeah, here, have some. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay, that's enough. That's enough.
I
take the glass
actually
away
look
from
to like Dirham in this instance. Like I look to like Dirham and Sparrow, and I'm kind of like clearly at like a mental impasse. And I say out loud, I want to help the people of this city.
If I may, so do I. And I hope you believe me.
I do. I just, my other concerns. And I look to my fellows.
I understand your concerns, believe me, I do, but I do not believe that there is a place that will not, civil war within the realm will, even if it does not draw forces from either side, there are external concerns as well.
Well, the problem, if you have a gem that is unaligned with the realm during the civil war, that it will get forgotten because the breadbasket won't reach it, because there'll be more pressing needs for the bounty of the lab. So if you have them vying for one side, at least you'll have one side that cares about them, and then their supplies won't get cut here.
Dear.
Okay. So I think we're in agreement that if we support this new claimant and if we help them take over the throne, of course, we expect it to be properly compensated. Anything other than that? Other than being no?
I actually looked at Dirham and I said, Dirham.
Anything else we're expecting from this exchange here?
Well, I do still have a question. You clearly have this all planned out. You simply needed the right military company to show up to do what's right. And I think everybody in this room can understand that the current leader is not good for the people. What is your step-by-step in order to ensure that this is resolved? Should we agree? Do you have an actual plan? Or are we simply might to start correcting a city? Because this city has a history of corruption, chaos, and destruction. And while I'm confident in my friend's company and his power, I also am aware of the time that this city has inherited pain, destruction, and chaos.
Action must be swift and decisive. It is not a matter of putting our claimant forward and debating with the despot to prove that our claim is more valid than his.
He won't care.
Exactly, and then he will simply bring all of his might to bear. He will turn the entirety of the mercenary market upon us, and even your forces would be overwhelmed. No, what we need is a well-trained, small force that can remove the head. Then we can present the new head along with its proof.
Adramalik leans in and nods. He's like,
guess I'm into this.
I understand if this is not something that appeals to your sensibilities. It is not the meeting of soldiers on the battlefield. It's no less dangerous, but perhaps distasteful to your mind.
Nope, I have absolutely no problem with sneaking into a place and stabbing someone in the back. That is right up my alley.
He shoots a concerned look in your direction.
If they deserve it, obviously not like a good person, but if someone's really being a dick, you gotta
As Mountain said, he keeps people who are very, very good at things that he himself does not do himself around him.
It's always the unassuming ones.
Is that why I'm around? Wait, is that the only reason I'm in the group? Uber.
Dirham leans back in the chair, folds his arms, looks to Mountain and shrugs.
Because I don't want Laura to feel snubbed or left out, I guess I have just to be clear, I would be horrified normally to be like, Laura, the lady who eats hearts, what do you think? But so as not to snub her, because this is her first time ever eating with us or engaging with us at length, I definitely like gesture to Laura, see if she has any opinions.
What Durham said made sense to me, of not bringing more chaos, but yet learning from past mistakes and bringing on a new positive future.
All right, so it sounds like
Eloquently put.
we are in agreement, at least for the amount of time that matters, which is Gem deserves better.
The only thing, I'd personally add here is that, if we are responsible for bringing peace and new prosperity to Gem, that, our house would similarly share the bounty of it and what have you, and the glory of it. So it's not just House Mnemon that's reaping everything, but also House Ragara, and look over to the other people.
When you actually go to mention my house, I put my hand up.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, I'm good.
If you wish to be a known presence in this takeover, I have no objection to this. And I'm sure that we would happily accept such open support. I assume, however, you know the risks of doing so.
Yes, we could die and be tortured terribly if we fail.
Well, once we support one side, we wouldn't be able to support the other side and what have you. But, it's still not the Civil War. We can still say, hey, we liberated this place for a house that, was already preparing here. We helped one of the other noble houses that was already staking their claim. So it's not part of the possible Civil War. We're just doing it out of the goodness of our hearts.
Exactly.
I wish to meet the ruler, as I agree. And any further deliberations, I think, should be done with the person who's actually going to be ruling the city.
Very well. I cannot object.
We are all in agreement. Easy peasy.
Well,
he signals to a servant.
I guess if he's in agreement, then I'm going to eclipse of that. Secretly. I'll just spend my personal mouth to sanctify all of that. If we help them, he'll make sure that, the new rule will be better, will protect the people. Also that, our houses will have some kickback from this, I guess.
Yeah, they're going to gain some renown.
Yeah. But, pretty much he won't screw us over. Well, yeah, doing this stealthily, not to expose my things. Not sure how that would.
After a few minutes, then, the door opens and in walks a young man. He has short cropped hair. He is well built. He's clearly been a worker. He doesn't have the muscles of a soldier. He doesn't have the fat of somebody who sits around in meetings and whatnot. He has clearly worked the fields or worked the mines, some kind of physical labor.
He has practical muscle.
Practical muscle. Good. That's a good way of putting it.
That is nice. Yeah.
Practical muscle. He has. He's wearing just a simple brown leather outfit. You can see that it's actually made, Dirham, of the similar of the scales that you've been working with. You can see that it's made of that creature or something similar. As he enters, you see he has a severe expression on his face. It's not a cruel look. It is simply intense. And as he enters, he gauges each one of you, looking at each of you in turn, attempting to discern what he can about the individuals he has entered the room with. So, what are your guiles?
My guile. Oh, George. Oh, George.
Is he an exalt? Because
I'm definitely an assassin.
My guile is 1.
8 or 9, depending.
Depending on
whether he's an exalt.
Okay. So then I will keep that information secret and apply that.
Yeah.
Mine's 4, 5 if he would have been a commoner, but also I'm not gonna pump it.
No, he does fit. He does fit the commoner because that's spring. He wasn't brought up as.
Yeah, he's a commoner.
He might have that, but Theorem.
Mine is 2.
Okay. And Lore.
Think 3.
Sounds right.
Yeah, you are correct.
Cool.
So he pauses on each of you. He pauses a little bit longer on Ragara Royale. Before nodding, a slight smile hitting his face. So, you're the ones who are going to help me fix this city. Good.
And who might you be? Oh, he's the he's the gem.
There we go.
And cut.
And that's where we cut.
Thank you so much for taking the time to enjoy our show, and a big thank you to our generous patrons Bubble Dirt, Nova Phoenix, The Pyahoo, and Red Comet. It's great to have you back after our short break. Come back next week or join our Patreon where the next episode is live now. Meanwhile, don't forget to check out our tutorials and video plays on YouTube at The RPG Blender. We've dropped a few during this break, so go check them out. And if you want to stay up to date on our releases, you can join our Discord or find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or your podcast app of choice. Music is The Punk Rock Show by My Free Mickey. Copyright 2012, licensed under Creative Commons Attribution License. Thank you again, and remember, there's gaming outside the Forgotten Realms.
Could not have had a better ending line. Oh boy. This is why we pay him the big bucks.
Thank you.
I like that it was just a night of subtext when it was well established in the beginning of the episode that Andrew Malik does not understand.
I hope you had fun. I hope I know this was a very talky session.
I love that.
Yeah, talking sessions are nice for like getting to know the world and stuff, because once we get into the charms and shit, that's when my mind goes.
And the
and I bet you will be able to relate.
I appreciated being able to not have to have the dialogue. It was more like an information dump more than anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you want to add something in, be free to butt in and whatever.
Yeah, please.
Pretty welcoming of that.
As you can see, we don't really take offense at the crazy input.
No, not at all. It's actually better. It's much better.
Yeah, entertaining.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's great.
Literally great. It's not.
Yeah.
Don't stop.
Choice moments. Choice moments.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I really want to talk to the kid because I'm like, all right, I get what you want, but the person
does he know what he's getting into? Is he actually capable of doing this?
Oh, it's not that is all part of it, but it's, are you the one that I can influence? Because this guy is now like, I'm gonna be with the realm, but this kid is actually gonna be the king. So I don't care what you say anymore. You've already made your point clear of like realm, and I'm like, great.
But what does he want? Yeah.
But also, are you being influenced?
Yeah, and he seems to not be from like
for you
a noble upbringing.
for that guy too.
I mean, his description makes me feel like he's under this other guy's thumb.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this guy probably said, but not for no reason. This guy's probably literally saved his life at this point.
Yeah. A good vassal, I mean, like,
there's more
what better teacher to have than a kind.
Find out what that is.
It kind of feels like, in Game of Thrones, that one kid who
Eddard Stark to Jon Snow. Yeah.
Or I was thinking the kid with that gets murdered from the blacksmith.
Gendry? Or no?
People.
I don't
care. I've read the books, but
it's season 2, y'all. It's been 10 years. You have to at some point just accept
I made it halfway through season 1.
I don't know it well enough. I just know that the one guy who like when he first came in was with Arya Stark for a while. Like that's who the two of them followed together. Okay. Him.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Yep, the blacksmith who is actually the bastard son of the king.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was more like
he's a commoner, but he has great destiny. And
got assassination mission on the way, folks.
I mean, honestly, that's great.
If only we had someone who could turn invisible at will and was really good at stealth.
But I'm gonna as long as he's standing completely still.
Shut up. Becky didn't know that. Becky was going to be so impressed.
Like, who's this for?
I mean, you literally could have gone like, oh, is the person invisible? Like this? And then you disappear, and then 2 invisible chairs?
Yeah, I was going to be like, oh, I thought you were in that chair before. Watch me.